Hi everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media. Today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 Lexus GX460. Now this thing is pretty awesome, and it's big and it's got some awesome great features with it. So let's get started. Now for this review, we decided to go a little bit different than the usual driving it around. Now we decided to use this in a very everyday scenario, a lot of everyday scenarios. We went shopping in it. So we went for grocery shopping. We decided to do a little bit of a family road trip to get to a local zoo. Now I say local, but it's about an hour and a half away each way. And it was actually great. So we wanted to put it in a little bit of a longer drive than just, kind of to the store and back, even though we did that as well. And it did great. We'll take a look at some of the footage we were able to capture while we were having fun, and some of the cool features that we were able to capture while we were having fun at the zoo, because it does have some cool things to help us out through that little drive-through zoo we did. Now, I want to get started with the front. This is probably one of my more favorite Lexus fronts, especially on the SUV side. First of all, we have the lights, which have a really angular design. Again, we're very strong on these very jagged lines, and I love this grille. So this grille has this very like gunmetal color to it, which looks unbelievable. I think I like this more than kind of like the brushed aluminums or the chromes that you see. This color definitely is definitely the better one out of all of those options. Now, I want to go back to the lights, because the lights have probably one of my favorite things that I've seen in recent trends. This is actually, I saw it with the Nissan Titan, where they have kind of this frosted color to it. And as you can see here, we have this little frosted design, and it's just something that I guess we're seeing a little bit more of a trend, but it definitely sets it apart, and it gives you this very bright daytime running light, but it also has like this softness to it, which is great. It's definitely a great design. Now in the front, we have, more of the fog lights in the front. This does have the headlight washer option, which was nice, because we definitely needed it. And I actually should have tested it out a couple more times, because I do have some bugs from our road trip. Now, we take a look at the bottom, and there's a good amount of ground clearance. And, it's definitely a little bit off-road capable with some of the features like we'll see inside with this. Now let's take a look under the hood. Coming under the hood, we have the 4.6 liter V8, and this is connected to the 6-speed automatic, which is then connected to the all-wheel drive system in this. Now this V8 sounds pretty good. I was surprised by it, and it was kind of pleasing to hear that the V8 wasn't kind of silenced, which we can hear sometimes in these more luxury vehicles, not just SUVs but also cars. But this V8 really had it had a nice little sound, and the performance was great. So 301 horsepower may not seem like a lot, especially when you're in a big vehicle like this, but if you make those 301 horsepower really useful in the sense of having the transmission tuned correctly, the all-wheel drive system working correctly, it can be a lot of power. And that's what this is. This is very powerful in this vehicle. It feels very powerful. It feels over 300 horsepower, because this guy can really get this bigger guy moving along. So I really love the fact that the setup of this was great. I had to pull over on the highway and for a little bit, just checking something on my phone, making sure we're going the right way when we went to the zoo. But as soon as we got back on the highway, it was so easy for me to merge, just really accelerate this thing, and it got up to 60 miles an hour in a fairly quick, what felt in a fairly quick manner. In fact, we actually had to go up to 70, because that's what the speed limit was. God bless Texas. But it was definitely capable of doing that. I wasn't struggling, and if I had a vehicle behind me that was coming up already up to speed, I didn't have the fear of, was I gonna make it or not, you know, with this much power, or get this big guy going. So definitely this was a great combination. Let's take a look at those wheels now. Coming down to the wheels, we are looking at the 19-inch option. They are wrapped in the Dunlop tire, which are 265 55s. These were great. These sounded like nothing because they were quiet. They ran really smooth, took up bumps with no problem, but it was a stable ride. It didn't feel very, you know, when you have a big SUV, it can sometimes feel real sway. You know, there's a lot of swaying going on. Not with this, so it definitely felt like a more stable, more solid wheel. And paired up with the suspension was really well. But my favorite part about this is the color. This anthracite, or this dark gunmetal black, it's just so good. And we saw it teamed up in the front with the grille. It's the same color, but it just has, it's a dark color, but it has so much sparkle to it. So definitely what I would prefer to get with this SUV. Let's take a look at the side profile. We can tell it's a big SUV. So this does have 3 rows, which is why you have this little bit of extra space back here. And a couple of things. So again, we have the big wheels, nice big wheels. This does have an air suspension, but it's not like the previous LX that we've test drove, where the air suspension raises both the front and the back. So it is a little bit limited with this one, where it's only the back that raises up and down. I'm assuming for towing capabilities, so you can lower it down, you know, grab onto the hitch, you know, have your items grab onto the hitch and then lift it back up, and you're ready to go. But with that being said, it's not 100% off-road capable like the LX was, where we can really raise it up or really slam it down with the air suspension if we needed to clear different items. But that's not a problem, because the front end is pretty, like I mentioned earlier, it has a lot of clearance. So it's not that big of a problem. We have the running boards here. So if you need that little extra boost to get in, it's not really needed for me. My wife definitely, that's a little bit shorter, appreciated the fact that it had the running boards. One weird thing that I noticed is that the mirrors don't fold in when you are when you lock the car or you park the car. But there is a button, but it's a hard button, meaning that it's a switch. So it's like a switch to close them and open them up. You would think for at this price point, about $70,000, this would fold automatically. But, you know, sometimes you win some, you lose some. But yeah, I mean, I love the styling. It's a big SUV. Again, big wheels. You know, you have your roof mounts up there. But it's a pretty good looking vehicle. Oh, and the color, I love this color. This color is real nice, and again, really sets it off with the black wheels. Now, we're gonna move on to the back, to probably one of my favorite things about this. Okay, so on to my favorite part about this is, again, we get to the rear and we can see it's a very boxy design, which is kind of the styling that I like in my vehicles. But we have this just big tailgate in the back, and when I went to open it up to load some stuff in it, I was a little confused. I was just kind of doing the whole I feel like this is like what you deal with in the on the hood when you're trying to find out, how do I open the hood. I feel like we encounter this now with the back. So it, you know, I was looking for it and I couldn't find it, and then realized that it doesn't have a button underneath. It actually has on the side here, you put your hand and you squeeze it, and this actually opens up this way. Now, I don't know if I love it so much because it's different. It's a new way of opening than your typical you know, opening up on the top, but I like it. It works really well. It kind of gets out of your way, which the top one doesn't, you know, doesn't bother you, but sometimes you're just kind of, you know, worried about it hitting you that way. The other thing as well is a lot of times when you open things up that way, you're wondering, is anything gonna fall? Which I've had an experience with a whole box of eggs where, you know, things were moving around in the back and they just fell out. So having this open up this way, which I'm able to catch anything a little bit easier, I think was better. I enjoyed it. It does, like I said, get out of the way. Now, there are some drawbacks to this though, is that the remote doesn't have the option of opening this up. It only has the option of unlocking it. So with nowadays current situation, when I'm trying to do curbside contactless pickup, it unfortunately can't be that, because now I'm having to get out of the car, open up the back, and then have, you know, the items be put in the back, and then for me to close it. So it's not there. I wish this were, you know, motorized, but it's not. It just has a big shock here to help it, and it also has a lock, so you can lock it so that this doesn't come flying at you with the wind. So that is a nice feature, but again, that's just kind of one of the drawbacks, that it's not an automatic system for it to open up. But there's plenty of space back here, and that is because I do have the third row down. So this is the third row SUV. It is down because I don't need the extra space or the extra seats in the car, but I do need the extra space for all the cargo. But yeah, this thing has been awesome. I've been loving this, and it also has another cool little feature where if you actually just press this button, you're able to lift this up, and there you go. Which would actually be great for me, because I can have my wife driving and I can be filming another car, so a car-to-car shot from back here. Obviously closed roads, but it's definitely, I see a good use to this. But again, I wish there was somehow to make this kind of automatic to open and close, or motorized. But yeah, it's definitely been one of my favorite features. Now let's go inside. Once we're on the inside, this is where this SUV excels, but also fails pretty badly with some key components with this. Let's get started, because it's getting a little hot in here. Okay, so if we take a look at the wheel, it's a pretty good looking wheel. We have a fairly good design. It's a very typical Lexus wheel that we've seen. And this has the wood grain on the top. It has these leather areas here for more grip, and they definitely feel comfortable. It's very good feel to the wheel. This also has a heated steering wheel as well for those colder days that we see in Austin, maybe 2 days a year. But we take a look at this, and it's kind of outdated, or it's not very inspiring, at least not in this trim. And we take a look at just kind of the basic functions of it, and again, there's nothing exciting about this. This also doesn't have a heads-up display, which is something that I was a little confused. When you're paying this much money, I would hope we'd have that small little detail, because it really sets it apart. So we don't have that. Here is the switch that I mentioned for the mirrors. Again, it's a hard switch for that to go folded and closed. Yeah, I mean, I would wish it has the motor in it, so it's not that it's not equipped with the electronics to do it. It just doesn't have the programming. So we have that, and we have our leather hand resting area, which feels great. It's nice and comfortable there. But then we come to one of my least favorite things about this is the infotainment. It's non-existent in the sense of, you know, we have these really outdated things, or just this Bluetooth audio, because that's all you get. You get Bluetooth audio. There is no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. It's unbelievable that you'd be paying this much money and this year of a vehicle and not have that. I've had, what's the cheapest vehicle I've probably had? A Honda Civic, which was about 20,000 or so, I believe. That had Apple CarPlay. So it's just, this is one of the things I love least about, or I really dislike about Lexus. And some Toyota, well, the latest Toyota, we didn't have a problem with that, but it's the, you know, this is stuck in like 2001, 2002 kind of time period. And you can see that the buttons just, I don't know, the design just isn't there. Now this does have the Mark Levinson surround sound system, so it is the premium sound system. And this is the first Mark Levinson system that actually sounds good. I'm usually not a fan of Mark Levinson systems because what we've heard in the past hasn't been that great. But this one, I don't know what's different from this one and the other ones. This one sounds incredible. I really love the way that this one sounds. So whatever has been done or has been added or changed, keep it up, Lexus, because this is how every sound system, every premium sound system that you offer has to have. The other thing with this is it has a DVD player. So it has a DVD player in there. It is a little clunky to kind of manage. We can do source, disc, and we actually have Lego Movie 2, which is what we watched when we went to the zoo. Now it does come with a remote, but it was a little weird to kind of control. I completely forgot about that, the control, but you know, I can't see anything here. I can't control. I mean, I know how to do it, but I mean, I'm pressing just some of these buttons and I can't see what's going on. Granted, I understand that, you know, you need to be driving and safety, but if I'm completely stopped, I should be able to see what is going on in there, for me to choose what movie he, you know, or choose it for him. Another thing was the climate was a little clunky. To really get the most out of it, or actually to bring down the fan, not the temperature, because sometimes you want to have it cold, but just not it blowing too much. It was a little clunky because I had to press here and I had to push the up and down for the fan there. So, you know, I have all these little buttons. I would hope that, you know, have all this space here. Why not just make this smaller? I guess maybe it's the DVD player aspect of it, but nowadays we get slim DVD players, so I don't see that as being an excuse, really. But just give me a fan up and down. We have the temperature here, we have auto, but you know, sometimes that's not the best, which it isn't in this one. But yeah, I mean, that's all I really wanted. I just wanted a little auto, or a little fan to go, little fan button to go up and down. But again, it just looks so outdated. Come on, Lexus, you guys are doing so great with everything else, but it's lacking that. Now coming down here, a couple of things. So you can see this is where we went. It was definitely a fun experience. So anyone that is in the Central Texas area, definitely something to check out. But there's a couple of great things here. We have your space. We have a pretty good space. Let me move this back. You have a pretty good space for your phone. So my phone is right in there. And you have multiple chargers. You have multiple chargers here, right in there. And this has cooling and heated seats, which obviously we don't need the heated, but we can do with the cooling. We have the suspension that raises and lowers. Again, it's not that much of a difference. Plus it is only in the rear. With the suspension, you have the sport, normal, and comfort. One of the things I really liked about this with that suspension was the comfort mode. It was really smooth. I was surprised. And with this being a big SUV, sometimes you feel kind of the swaying of the big tires and the big, you know, big raised suspension and that stuff. Not in this one, especially in comfort mode. When I was in sport, it did feel pretty good. It does feel a little bit like it was tightened up and was working there. Then we come down to our four-wheel drive modes. We have a 4 high and a 4 low, and this is actually really good. You'll take a look. I'll show you guys some of the things that, you know, when we were at the zoo, I decided, hey, let's just switch it to 4 low, and it did its job. It was pretty good. Now coming over to our cup holders, decided to leave this in there for scale. Some pretty good cup size. You know, you can really put in a big cup in there. Now I'm gonna show you guys another beautiful thing. So Lexus did great with these seats. I mean, look at them. They're nice and bright red, and they just really stand out. And they're super easy to clean, but it's just a very beautiful color. And you can see there in the back as well. So all four, this has the captain's chair, but it's definitely great. And we actually have this little guy that's been bugging us all the shoot, but yeah, I think he likes the red interior too, which is probably why he keeps pecking at the window there. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you got the perforated leather for the cooling aspect of it, which it's okay. It wasn't 100% as powerful as others. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't cooling as quickly as others have. Another cool thing about this, let's move this over. One thing I really liked about this armrest is not only do you have, you know, a ton of space in here, as you can see, our Lego movie in here. So there's tons of space in there, but this was actually great. This will save marriages, guys. And I say that because sometimes my wife doesn't like if I have the armrest up forward, because it's, you know, she's probably hitting it, so she wants to keep hers back, but I can keep mine forward, you know, to rest my arm. So marriage saving features here, guys. So definitely some cool things there. We're in the back seat, and let me tell you, there is plenty of leg room. There is plenty of legroom space. I'm not the biggest guy, but I would say even sitting down, and let's see, even sitting down, you can see that I probably have a good, probably 1.5 foot of legroom space. And again, this is the third row SUV. So even if I were to go essentially all the way forward, I still have a lot of space available. It's surprisingly big. In case I need to go forward, and my front seat isn't, you know, it's not the most forward seat, so I do have it kind of sitting back a little bit, but it works. You know, I have tons of space. Now this is something that I wanted to show you guys, was the screens. So again, with the DVD setup, we have that. One thing though is, if you guys can take a look at the colors, they are not the same. This feature is, you know, this option, it's not cheap. I believe it's about $1,000 or so to get these. And there's already a discoloration with this one. This is actually a lot more red. There's a red tint to it, and my son noticed it. He kept saying, Daddy, I have, you know, my movie is red. Can I see it on the other one? And then when I looked back, yeah, the Lego movie was playing with like a red hue to it. I don't know if I would recommend for you guys to spend money on this system. Buy two iPads. Buy a mount for headrest, and you know, you'll be under you'll be under the option. It took us a while to find a DVD, because nowadays, and I was one for physical media. I loved physical media, but you know, nowadays I'm buying a movie and I'm looking for it to have a digital download, because it makes it easy and convenient, and I can watch it, he can watch it, you know, my wife can watch it, or all of us can watch it. So it has that, you know, so that's why I was saying, get two iPads. You can get two iPads and essentially replace these screens and still have better options than just dealing with, okay, now I have to look for DVDs. Now, it's not 100% DVDs, because then you can come down here and use these connections. But again, now you're dealing with more outdated, or, you know, yeah, just simply outdated technology. I'm having, you know, I have an HDMI connection, but now I have to run a cable to this to get it, you know, get it going there. While with the iPads, it'll get the job done. Now we have the climate control here, which is, you know, for the rear, they can choose their own items, their own temperatures there. And like I said, we have his seat here, which is great. You know, having the reclining option is always awesome, because, you know, his chair is a little bit more reclined than your typical kid chair. Now, one thing I didn't like about this is this. So we kind of kept it here so we can show you, but my wife had some items in the back when she went to go to make a run at the store. So my son goes to his mom, goes, Mommy, there's some stuff in the front. And she was a little confused. And what's actually happening, because it's the captain's chair, there's an opening there. You could see it. I was confused that there's nothing to really block this or lower this to stop kind of your cargo from going back. Kind of a safety thing. You can move the cover to cover the back, which is great, but definitely not for this. So I don't know if I don't have the piece because it's a loaner car, but definitely is lacking that. But you know, passengers, just because they're passengers in the back doesn't mean they have to suffer. So we have cool little things like the cup holders, we have the charging at the bottom, and again, we have their own climate. One thing I really loved, and this was awesome, there is like a magnified mirror so that you can see everything in the back. So now when the kids are misbehaving, you're able to see them and, you know, reprimand them or threaten to take the DVD out. But yeah, it's definitely a great little feature. It makes it better than having to, you know, have your rear view mirror positioned in a way that you can see your kid, but not use it as a rear view mirror, which can be dangerous. Obviously, you want to make sure you're able to see everything. But yeah, that little drop down was awesome. Plus, you can actually see your blind spot on the right hand side. So that was a nice little thing. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed my little kind of talk about it. I do want to leave you with some fun things and just kind of the adventures that we got to experience at that zoo here in Texas. Hope you enjoyed my review, and remember, find the right gear.
Guess what day it is? Camel! Hi! You're so pretty.
You're so big!
Pictures?
That one wants some food. Throw it, bro.
So I decided to put it in 4-low, and when you do that for off-roading, which isn't too bad here, but you get a lot of different camera angles, which is great, especially here when, you know, you have something like a deer in front of you or next to you, or, you know, just a cow walking by on your side right there. Oh, and it gives us things like the pitch that we're in. pretty awesome.
Yo.
So my wife asked me, why did it beep? Maybe because this was in the way. Oh, what's that noise?
Let him back up. Wait, careful, he's gonna lick you. Careful.
Oh, he licked the GoPro.
You want more? You want more? Oh, don't lick the car. Oh, baby. Okay. Oh, you got a sandpaper tongue, baby. Can I pet you? Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, hi. Hi, baby.
Oh my god.
The baby's hiding.
Scary.
Here.
This
There
is
you go.
scary.
There you go.
This
Oh,
is
you're
scary.
so pretty. Oh my god, look at the horns.
Oh,